From the News and Current Affairs Department, here the Blaze Communications Network Incorporated welcome the News Point for the 5 minutes of news about Liberia, Africa, and the rest of our one world. I am Oliver McIntosh presenting on today's presentation of the program. In the headlines, Vice President Jeremiah Kuhn underscores the importance of ensuring stable and reliable electricity supply across Liberia, describing it as vital to national development and economic growth. Japan ambassador credited to Liberia Hishari Owumu reaffirmed his country's commitment to supporting Liberia's development through strategic investments. Bomi County Senator Edwin Snow calls for stronger enforcement of Liberia's local content and liberalization policies in the operations of Beer Mountain Mining Corporation. These the news bulletins, posts, or package on today's presentation of the program. But first, Stephen Talu and the news bulletin. Stephen, good evening.
Good evening, Oliver, and good evening, Liberians. Vice President Jeremiah Kuna has underscored the importance of ensuring stable and reliable electricity supply across Liberia, describing it as vital to national development and economic growth. Speaking during an interview on state radio in Painesville, Kuna said access to the livelihoods. He warned that without dependable electricity, efforts to strengthen the economy and attract investment will continue to face significant obstacles. The vice president emphasized the need for sustainable energy solutions capable of meeting the country's growing demand, reaffirming the government's commitment to improving the energy sector. He noted that ongoing initiatives are aimed at expanding electricity access, particularly in undeserved and rural communities. Meanwhile, Kun revealed that the B Mountain Mining Corporation remains the highest taxpayer in Liberia, but cautioned that the company is facing challenges that require urgent government attention. He stressed that while the company contributes significantly to national revenue, it is now well within its operations are calling for serious intervention to address existing issues. The ambassador of Japan accredited to Liberia, Hiroshi Yashimoto, has reaffirmed Japan's commitment to supporting Liberia's development through strategic investments in key sectors including education, health, and community resilience. Ambassador Ishimoto made the statement during the official launch of a four major projects at the One UN House in Monrovia, a joint initiative involving Japan, the United Nations, and the government of Liberia. Speaking on behalf of the government and people of Japan, Yoshimoto described the project as a reflection of the strong bilateral ties between the two countries and their shared goal of improving the living conditions of Liberians. The full project funded under Japan's supplementary budget and the TCAT funding scheme valued at over US $5.7 million. She explained that the United Nations Children's Fund will lead to two of the projects, including efforts to strengthen emergency water system in flood affected and disease-prone communities, as well as improve school effectiveness, learning well-being, and child monitoring through digital innovation. Meanwhile, Liberia's education last minister Jaso Jala has reaffirmed Liberia's commitment to advancing national development priorities and key sectors including education, health, gender equality, and the protection of children and adolescents. Dr. Jala emphasized the government's collective resources to strengthen these critical areas as part of Liberia's broader development agenda. Bombing County Senator Edwin Snow has called for stronger enforcement of Liberia's local content and Liberianization policies in the operations of BA Mountain. Many corporations stressing that the benefits of the country's natural resources must directly import local communities. Speaking Monday in an interview in Monrovia, Senator Snow acknowledged that while the company continues to generate significant returns on its investment, the broader benefits to ordinary Liberians remain limited. He emphasized that lawmakers, particularly members of the Grand Cape Mount Legislative Caucus, must take the lead in ensuring that policies promoting local participation and economic inclusion are fully implemented. According to him, the continued export of our resources without visible improvements in the lives of local citizens is deeply concerning and requires urgent legislative attention. Senator Snow further underscored the need for accountability and reforming Liberia's concession sector, drawing from past engagements with affected communities. According to him, by past political promises to review major concession agreements, including those related to mining operations, have largely gone unfulfilled even after changes in government. The political advisor to President Joseph Walker, Mandela Kopo, has emphasized the critical role of educators in shaping the nation's future, urging graduates of the Leocosis Teacher College to see their profession as a national call to duty. Delivering the keynote address at the graduation ceremony of Lycouses College of Education over the weekend, Madam Cooper said infrastructure alone cannot transform education as the real power lies in its of educators. She highlighted the importance of reshaping primary education for a brighter future, stressing that education is not solely the government responsibility, but a duty of every citizen, institution, community, and home. According to Madam Kopo, the Bagakon administration has demonstrated through policies, actions, and strategic investments that education remains a priority. Meanwhile, the president of Lycosis College of Education, Dr. Benjamin Way, explained that the graduation marks a significant step toward improving the quality of education in Liberia. He revealed that all foreign female educators were among those honored, something he said to demonstrate a commitment to gender balance in the education sector. Sarah employees of the Monrovia Consolidated School System on Monday, April 27, staged a peaceful protest over delay in salary payments for staffs at the institution. The employees who were seen holding placards and chanting slogans accused the superintendent of MCSS, Dr. Gory Stevens, of blocking the salary after the names were included in the government budget for 2026. They alleged that Dr. Stevens has refused to work at the will of President Joseph Walker, arguing that her actions are contrary to the progress of the MCSS. The employees revealed that some have been volunteering for over 6 years and were verified by the Civil Service Agency during its recent verification process. The Mangibi County Security Council has recognized and honored a group of interns serving with the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency for their outstanding contributions to the fight against illicit drugs in the county. The recognition ceremony held over the weekend brought together local authorities, security officials, and community members to celebrate the commitment and dedication of young leaders working to combat drug abuse and trafficking. Presenting the honors, members of the Security Council commended the interns for their proactive role in supporting law enforcement operations, raising community awareness, and assisting in initiatives aimed at reducing the spread of illegal substances. The council noted that the interim's efforts have significantly strengthened the ongoing campaigns to promote public safety and perfect vulnerable groups and protect vulnerable groups, particularly young people who are most at risk. According to Mangibi County correspondent Benson Moko, the interns have demonstrated exceptional leadership, discipline, and a strong sense of responsibility in the discharge of their duties. The United Methodist University Alumni Association during the weekend launched its inaugural fundraising program with a call for reforms and stronger alumni engagement. The program, which was held at the First United Methodist Church on Ashland Street in Monrovia on April 24, brought together members of the 21st graduating class and representatives from the Office of the Minister of State for Presidential Affairs. Speaking at the event recently, the newly elected alumni president, Emmett Coker, called for the establishment of a system to track alumni across the globe. He said the move will help highlight the achievements and strengthen the university's reputation and enrollment. Coker also disclosed plans to provide affordable internet services to help strengthen learning effectiveness on campus. The president, Joseph Nyamabwaka, has underscored the need for continuous global efforts to sustain peace, warning that rising conflict threats on instability worldwide. Speaking over the weekend after receiving the 34th Annual Africa Peace Award in Sacramento, the United States, President Walker said peace must be actively maintained, emphasizing that every nation, regardless of size, has a role to play. He called on African leaders to prioritize conflict prevention, particularly by investing in the continent's youth, describing the regions of growing young population as both a major opportunity and a potential risk if not properly supported. President Bouaga warned that many young people across Africa continue to face barriers such as limited access to education, unemployment, and social inequality. Conditions he said that expose them to exploitation, crime, and dangerous migration journeys. The United Nations has raised alarm over Liberia's socio-economic condition and warning that poverty, unemployment, and food insecurity remain widespread across the country. According to a new UN report on Liberia's development outlook, more than half of Liberian households are facing food insecurity, while unemployment and poverty levels remain unacceptably high. Speaking on the findings, Christine Omotoni said the situation underscores the urgent need for stronger interventions, noting that the maternal and child mortality rates through declining still exceed global averages. The report also highlighted Liberia's continued dependence on external financing, cautioning that this process the country exposes the country to global economic shocks and undermines long-term fiscal stability, while acknowledging ongoing government efforts to strengthen transparency and accountability, particularly through anti-corruption measures such as asset declaration enforcement. The UN warned that governance challenges persist. Former Finance Minister Samuel Toy has strongly denied allegations that he and four other former officials diverted US $6.2 million in public funds, describing the prosecution's case as flawed and unsupported by credible evidence. Testifying on Thursday, Toy argued that investigators failed to conduct a thorough and competent probe, insisting that a proper understanding of how the law Liberian government operates would have prevented what he termed as a weak indictment. According to him, the case is undermined by a lack of institutional knowledge on the part of investigators, resulting in contradictions and inconsistencies in the prosecution's arguments. He maintained that such contradictions expose the weakness of the case, noting that the prosecution is ignoring the legal and administrative framework that governs the documentation and decision making within Liberia's national security. Addressing money laundering allegations, Toure rejected claims that transfer between government accounts and constituted illegal activities. Prosecutors alleged that funds were improperly moved between accounts at the Central Bank of Liberia and the Financial Intelligence Agency of Liberia. And the Women NGOs Secretariat of Liberia has issued a strong warning to the government of Liberia calling for urgent action toward the establishment of the War and Economic Crimes Court and a national anti-corruption code. The call follows recent concerns raised by Jalababu of the Office for the establishment of the War and Economic Crimes Court, who alleged that some senior government officials are slowing progress. Babu named Justice Minister Osua Toa and Presidential Security Advisor Samuel Kofi Woods among those contributing to delays, and noting that a drafted bill submitted to the Executive Mansion in December 2025 has yet to be accepted. In a statement issued on April 25, Wangoso expressed concern over what it described as administrative bottlenecks and possible political interference, noting that nearly 2 years after Executive Order Number 131 and 1 year after Executive Order Number 1048 by Joseph Boaka, the process remains stalled. As co-chair of the National Transitional Justice Coordinating Committee and pointed out that key steps, including drafting legislation and stakeholder consultations, has already been completed. The group warned that continued delays risk undermining Liberia's commitment to justice, accountability, and the rule of law, while eroding public trust and confidence among international partners. One goes to emphasize that the push for the court is rooted in recommendations are from the 2010 Reconciliation Commission and supported by Liberia's legal and international obligations, including frameworks on women's rights and anti-corruption. Blaze News.
Indeed, many thanks to Stephen Talu there for the news bulletin. It's a regular feature on News Point. If you're just joining us, this is News Point for the 5 minutes of news about Liberia, Africa, and the rest of our own world. Stories we follow in today's presentation of the program. Vice President Jeremiah Kuhn underscores the importance of ensuring stable and reliable electricity supply across Liberia, describing it as a vital to national development and economic growth. Japan ambassador accredited to Liberia, Hisoshi Hoshimo, reaffirmed his country's commitment to supporting Liberia's development through strategic investment. Bome County Senator Edwin Snow calls for stronger enforcement of Liberia's local content and liberalization policy in the operations of Beer Mountain Mining Corporation. Still ahead, voices of our newsmakers posts all packaged onto this presentation of the program. We take on our first story. Vice President Jeremiah Kuhn has underscored the importance of ensuring stable and reliable electricity supply across Liberia, describing it as vital to national development and economic growth. Speaking during an interview on state radio in Painesville, Kuhn said access to consistent power remains a major challenge affecting key sectors including business, health care, education, and everyday livelihoods. The vice president emphasized the need for sustainable energy solution capable of meeting the country's growing demand, reaffirming the government's commitment to improving the energy sector. We don't solve electricity problem. Everything we'll be doing in Liberia, regardless of which government, will be window dressing. Electricity is the major problem for which this country will never grow unless we touch electricity. Electricity is everything. Look, without electricity, the hospital will not work. Regardless of how much, go buy the MRI, bring the hemoglobin machine, the dialysis machine, and anything you bring in the country. Ain't no way electricity can come. When it come one time, boop, 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 the third time it blow acid up in it. Something will spoil. A machine you invested millions of dollars in, you have to move them. Sometimes somebody is on the table, they doing surgery, that person on oxygen. And electricity went off, it cost people life in this country. The health sector will not work.
regardless of how much money you put in it, if electricity is not taken care. Agriculture will not work because if our mothers, sometimes you go on the man back the road, you see the people growing all their little potato green, but I also pepper and things. When that woman grew that potato green for 1 2 months, water it and everything, and cut the greens, put in the picky lapa and put in the taxi and bring it to relay. Our people go in the market in the morning, they want to buy fresh green. So they buy the fresh by afternoon time, 2 3 o'clock, the sun not come out, the green get folded. The next morning, nobody want to buy it. 2 3 days get red, the woman throw it away. And then she get discouraged. All the time I spend in the swamp. And I didn't even get anything for this thing. I'm not going to do any potato green thing again. I will be passing around asking the people to help me with better. It better than to waste my energy here. If you have electricity here stable, very cheap, any of you can choose to build a cold room to a temperature where you can store vegetables. You get a little picker, you get a little small truck, and just put your number up. Anybody who grow potato green, when they're ready to harvest, they call you. Call it client, I get potato green, I get almost 1 kilo, 10 kilo or 1 ton of potato green. You go there to harvest or buy it, put it in your truck, you pay, then come and put it in your storage. Okra, pepper, and even the plum between that. Right now, plum is wasting. So you see the whole bucket, 100. Right after this season, 1 month from now, one plum you can sell that same bucket you bought for 100 for 10 hours. You and will be happy to buy.
Meanwhile, Vice President Kuhn revealed that Beard Mountain Mining Corporation remains the highest taxpayer in Liberia, but cautioned that the company is facing challenges that require urgent government attention. He stressed that while the company contributes significantly to national revenue, all is not well within its operation, calling for serious intervention to address existing
At
issues.
B Mountain side. I never been there before. That was my very first time at B Mountain side. All my I thought B Mountain was some small company, digging somewhere. I didn't know until I went there that day, so I was shocked. I was like, wow, the guys are huge here. And from what I saw, B Mountain is the biggest taxpayer in the country. I thought Mita was the biggest. But B Mountain pay more money to government than Mita. I didn't know that. Yes, I gotta know that one. Now, is everything okay there? No. Are there issues? Yes. Can we solve it? Yes, but it requires discussion because we just passed the MDA in 2023. Again, it's a government that passed it. You have to be careful that this government come and pass something and you just come in and scratch it down. Again, the message you send it to the world is that you want to do business in Liberia, you gotta do it with that government for 6 years. After 6 years, you don't know what to expect in that 6 years. Nobody will move their money into an environment that is not stable. Now, there are a lot of discussions going on. For some reason, a vice president, not everything I can say. Something I can say, I can say. Something I can B Mountain this year, B Mountain is projected to produce 370,000 ounces of gold this year, 2026. Fortunately, this year, B Mountain will be paying some profit and things to Liberia because they've gotten most of their investment. They are in a stage where they have to pay. If you look here at direct and indirect taxes this year, B Mountain is projected at paying a minimum of $250 million. On the high side, they could be paying up to $300 million. Mita steel. On the low side, Mita should be paying. Mita is projected to move about 20 million tons this year. If they move 20 million tons, they are projected to be paying about 150 million on the low side. On the high side, Mita could pay up to 200 million. You have Bad Chico. Bad Chico should be moving 1 million tons of ore this year. It's a projection. I mean, they could
Economic growth. The ambassador of Hiroshi Hoshimu has reaffirmed Japan's commitment to supporting Liberia's education, health, and community development during House in Monrovia and a joint initiative of Liberia. Speaking on behalf of the government and people of Janan, Oshimo described the project as a reflection of the strong bilateral ties between two countries and their shared goal of improving the living condition of Liberians.
And on behalf of the government and the people of Japan, I'm pleased to join you today for this joint opening ceremony marking the launch of four important projects funded under the supplementary budget and the TICAT funding schemes. Together, these four projects are being supported with a grant amount of 5,746,665 US dollars in total. The launching of these four projects reflects the strong friendship between Japan and Liberia, as well as our shared commitment to improving the lives of the Liberian people. These projects come at an important time as Liberia continues its effort to strengthen resilience, expand access to social services, and promote inclusive development under the arrest national agenda. We are encouraged that all these four projects align closely with Liberia's national development priorities and with Japan's development cooperation policy, which places emphasis on supporting the self-help development efforts of partner countries. The first project to be implemented by UNFPA seeks to enhance Liberia's health technology management through institutional capacity strengthening and the development of biomedical workforce capacity. The second project, implemented by UNICEF, focuses on improving educational and child well-being outcomes through digital systems adaptation and innovation. The two remaining projects implemented by UNICEF and UN Women also addresses two important issues for Liberia: community resilience in the face of emergencies and the empowerment of vulnerable women affected by climate-related challenges.
Speaking at the program, the United Nations Resident Coordinator to Liberia, Christian Urutunin, has highlighted the significance of Japan supporting Liberia in advancing key development initiatives across the country.
Through this contribution from the government of Japan, four projects will be implemented. UNICEF will provide support for the implementation of two of them. The first intervention will strengthen emergency water systems in flood affected and outbreak prone communities in Liberia. And the second intervention will enhance school effectiveness, learner well-being, and child level monitoring through digital innovation. UNFPA, on the other hand, will provide support for implementation of technical cooperation of improved maintenance of life-saving biomedical equipment through human resource exchange with Japan and the establishment of the first training program for biomedical technicians. UN Women will provide support for implementation of one project to focus on technical support to the government of Liberia to strengthen gender responsive disaster resilience and human security for women and girls in Liberia. Together, these initiatives will strengthen Liberia in areas such as education, health service delivery, improved hygiene, disaster risk preparedness, and building resilience among local communities. So, today's launch marks a mutual dedication to tangible community-focused initiatives that address the pressing need of Liberian people while building resilience. These endeavors reflect the impact of shared dedication and strategic collaboration. On behalf of the UN, I would like to sincerely thank the government and the people of Japan for their funding support to these initiatives. Japan consistently demonstrates commitment to assisting developing countries in their effort to fast track and achieve the SDGs. I'm particularly excited that these four projects are being rolled out in the first year of the implementation of the UN Cooperation Framework and actually as in the early years of the government's own arrest agenda, the national plan for developing this country.
Meanwhile, Liberia's education Minister Jaso Jala has reaffirmed Liberia's commitment to advancing national development priorities in key sectors, including education, health, gender equality, and the protection of children and adolescents. Dr. Jala emphasized the government's collective resolve to strengthen these critical areas as part of Liberia's broader development agenda.
So we reaffirm our collective resolve today in advancing Liberia's national priorities, specifically in the vital sectors of education, health, gender equality, and protection of our children and adolescents. On behalf of the government of Liberia, I wish to extend profound gratitude to the government and people of Japan. Your generous support through the 2025 supplementary budget arrives at a pivotal moment in our national journey. It reflects a partnership that transcends mere bilateral cooperation. It is a bond built on trust, solidarity, and shared commitment to human dignity. I also wish to commend our United Nations partners, UNICEF, UNFPA, and UN Women. Your technical leadership and steadfast presence on the ground ensure that our development goals move from policy paper to personal impact. Your collaboration remains instrumental in helping Liberia navigate complex challenges to deliver tangible results for our citizens. Distinguished guests, the projects we launched today are not fragmented interventions. They are intentionally woven into the fabric of Liberia's National Development Plan and should continue to do so. By investing in clean water, healthcare, and empowerment of women and youth, we are doing more than providing services. We are securing the bedrock of a resilient and human-centered economy. We believe in a fundamental truth. A nation's prosperity is only as strong as the well-being of its most vulnerable population.
That's the voice of Liberia's Education Minister Jaso Jala. They're reaffirming Liberia's commitment to advancing national development priorities in key sectors, including education, health, gender equality, and the protection of children and adolescents. Earlier on, you listened to the United Nations Resident Coordinator to Liberia, Christian Urutuni, and then followed by China Ambassador. Several employees of the Monrovia Consolidated School System on Monday, April 27, staged a peaceful protest over delayed in salary payments for staffers at the institution. The employees who were seen holding placards and chanting slogans accused the superintendent of MCSS, Dr. Arthur Stevens, of blocking their salary after their names were included in the government budget for 2026. Here are voices of employees who staged the protest at the MCSS headquarters on Toa Street in Singa.
Because our salary are being blocked for 3 months. October, December, October, January. You know why couldn't just hear budget by the government out of no reason, the poor block by say we are not on the top. MCSS superintendent, she was not in the each of this government, you know. It's like she can't have to this government because she was appointed by the president, she's not working in each of the president. Making me too ready. Can you imagine? People pay for 2 months. At the end of the day, this is black outside. Whenever they say we are ghosts, now we are rising and they are stealing. They say that we are ghosts. And then after they say we are ghosts, we said no, we are not ghosts. Minister of Finance gave about $10,000 USD to do re-verification. And after re-verification, they capture us as people working for government. I thought of 3 years.
As voices or employees of the Monrovia Consolidated School System on Monday, April 27th, staged a peaceful protest over delay in their salary payments for staffers at the institution. Let's now join Mensomendi for the Passion of Last Post.
A 19-member Liberian delegation on today, Monday, departed the country via the Rabos International Airport for the People's Republic of China on board on Ethiopian Airlines following their selection from the just ended National County Sports Meet by the Ministry of Youth and Sports. The delegation will just transit through Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, before continuing to their final destination in China. It comprises players, technical staff, administrators, and media personnel. While in China, the team will participate in the 2026 Vede Super League, also known as the Camp Child, a grassroots football initiative that originated in Huaxin County in southwest China. The initiative is fully sponsored by the Chinese Embassy in Liberia. The delegation is headed by Amos Cody of the Ministry of Youth and Sports via support from Nema County Head Coach Mamadi Sharif and Grand Kimau County Coach Simon Kamara. Also part of the delegation is OKFM Sports editor Sylvester Tamba. Players selected for the trip include Clarence Mann of Nema County, Gortan Jode of Bon County, Wade Morgan of Montserrat County, Great Idiot of Meriden County, Mohammed Kamara of Grand Kemau County, Jerome Wade of Sando County, Dennis Babakud of Lufa County, Wedid Warlord of Grand Q County, Derek Harris of Riwaji County, Solomon Randall of Bomi County, Jackson Harris from Mahagibi County, Quincy Zion of Grand Jida County, Samuel Brown of Riverses County, in of Chase of Grand Basso, and Henry Jad of Babudu County. The delegation is expected to return to Liberia on May 4, 2026. Liberia Honor 17 lost to Queen Park Rangers Honor 17 5-2, while the Honor 20 was defeated 5-0 by the Creepy Arrow Honor 20 side. The other revealed that the games were a learning curve and experience for the young lads in continuation of the talent development skin exhibition matches. The Liberia on 17 boys recently secured a 2-1 win against Southampton on 17 side on Thursday of last week. And lastly, from the sports desk, the Liberia Intellectual Property Office has marked War Intellectual Property Day of a renewed call for stronger protection of sports-related brands, emphasizing the importance of intellectual property in boosting economic growth within Liberia's sports sector. Held under the theme Unlocking the Commercial Power of Sports Through Intellectual Property in Liberia, this year's celebration brought together sports administrators, athletes, business people, journalists, stakeholders, and policymakers to explore how branding, licensing, and legal protection can create new revenue opportunities in sports. The president of the Sports Writer Association of Liberia, Vama Kamara, expressed interest in collaborating with the initiative and urged the LIPO Director General to provide education and awareness training for sports writers and journalists so they can effectively spread the information nationwide. Speaking at the occasion, LIPO Director General Gamen Kwebe announced a 1-month waiver for all sports institutions to regularize their status with the Intellectual Property Office, noting that the waiver covers key registration requirements, including trademark, logos, and other brand assets. Oliver, that's the sports.
And the sports is a regular featured on News Point. Today's development. Bomi County Senator Edwin Snow has called for stronger enforcement of Liberia's local content and liberalization policy in the operations of Beer Mountain Mining Corporation, stressing that the benefits of the country's natural resources must directly impact local communities. Speaking Monday in an interview in Monrovia, Senator Snow acknowledged that while the company continues to generate significant returns on its investment, the broader benefits to ordinary Liberians remain limited. He emphasized that lawmakers, particularly members of Grand Cayman County Legislative Caucus, must take the lead in ensuring the policy promoting local participation and economic inclusion are fully implemented.
But what is happening is not just that they are making money on the investment, the returns on the investment. What the downside, the flip side that we need as legislators, beginning with the Grand Cape and Legislative Caucus, need to champion is the Liberianization policy, the local content. You know, there's no way, and every time we see it, and again, everything that happens to do with legislature, I'm not exempting myself. I'm equally liable of all the actions of the legislature. So I'm not going to sit there and I'm a nice guy. No, I'm equally liable. But every time we see so much being exported and nothing happening to our local people, it bleeds our heart. So again, the issue of big mountain, we need to look at it. And we need to do some soul searching and we need to do some publicity because unlike the past, I know Cape Man gonna have millions of dollars this year compared the last at least the last 2 years compared to what they ever made from the same agreement. Now, how do you put that money into the benefit of the future? Now, one of the problems we've had in the past is that the administration of the management of the resources. Because sometimes we get it and then, instead of maybe being a vocational center, we say let's go and day one toilet or somewhere. Instead of building a vocational training center, we say, well, somebody getting married, let's contribute to the wedding. So we need to now actually, see what's coming to the different counties.
Senator Snow further underscored the need for accountability and reform in Liberia's concession sector, drawing from past engagements with affected communities. According to him, past political promises to review major concession agreements, including those related to mining operations, have largely gone unfulfilled, even after changes in government.
And fortunately, you asked that question. I remember I did a tour one time in Bombay, and you, as a journalist, you were there. You saw the need or the expression of our people for job creation. So I went out there and tried to get those people in, and everybody beat us all here, left, right, and center, especially at the time when the current government was in the opposition. And some of the things said, as soon as we take power, we review the Western Plus D. As soon as we take power, we review the CTN. As soon as we take power, we review the metas and everything. Well, the Western Constitution, was passed, I think, in 2021, 2 years to the election. The government is in the stay here. It's still the same. Nothing has changed. So, so far I would say the more things change, the more things remain the same. So, B Mountain, it's a tricky situation with B Mountain. And I listened to you today reading the time frame of the passage of that agreement and how long it took and who were present and not present. And someone said, one of my staff said to me one day and said, fortunately, you're not one of those senators who voted for the D because you're going to be singled out, amongst 30 senators. But I don't think I find any glory in not being there. It just, I wasn't there. But the time, and then sometimes, it's like you. I mean, you may not know, but I know, for example, the history of this radio station, OK FM, Highway.
That's the voice of the Bomi County Senator Edwin Snow. They're calling for stronger enforcement of Liberia's local content and liberalization policy in the operations of Beard Mountain Mining Corporation, stressing that the benefits of the country's natural resources must directly impact local communities. With that, we come to the end of today's edition of News Point. It has been a production of the News and Current Affairs Department here at the Blaze Communications Network Incorporated. Before we go, a recap of the major stories. Vice President Jeremiah Kuhn underscores the importance of ensuring stable and reliable electricity supply across Liberia, describing aid as vital to national development and economic growth. Japan ambassador accredited to Liberia, Hishori Hashimo, reaffirms his country's commitment to supporting Liberia's development through strategic investment. Bomi County Senator Eddie Snow calls for stronger enforcement of Liberia's local content and liberalization policy in the operations of Beer Mountain Mining Corporation. Thanks to all of you for your listening room. Many thanks to Stephen Talu, who was here with the news bulletin. Menso Mendy brought in the passion of live sports. Eric Hinen sat at control and coordinated the entire program. From the other entire production team here at the Blaze Communications Network Incorporated, Oliver McIntosh presented. Good evening